All right, Chalk Talk with Chuck, episode 3. This one's going to be fun. This one's going to be really fun. Been looking forward to this for a long time. We're going to do Super Bowl props and Super Bowl bets, and the best part about the Super Bowl is there's a billion things to bet on. Yeah, and we're going to bet on a lot of them, or at least I am. And I'm going to do it all through FanDuel. Would love to do it through Barstool's thing too. Don't get me wrong, I'm not slanting anybody here. But they got FanDuel in Virginia. All I got to do is drive over the river, go down there, bet, watch the game at my friend's house, have a great time, and here it goes. I guess I'll just open up with the first set of bets that I'm going to do that are just related to the game, regular bets that I like. I like the 6-point tees for the Chiefs to go +3. I like the Chiefs -3 anyway. I like the money line Chiefs, and I like the over. I'm banging the Chiefs in this game. Dom, I know you're out there listening, and I know you're going to tell me you shouldn't bet against Brady in the Super Bowl. I can't find myself betting against Patrick Mahomes now. I did it last week or 2 weeks ago. I lost. It was a mistake. I'm not going to do that again. Also, just to add a little more fuel to that fire, the arch nemesis of this podcast, the bane of the sports world existence, Skip fucking Bayless, has been riding Tom Brady's cock. Here's the most annoying thing about guys who do that live television shit. The most annoying thing about him is they pick a guy like Tom Brady or a guy like LeBron James, and then they act like they are Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus fucking Christ for them having good careers. They act like they are messiahs who can see the future because Tom Brady's playing well with a bunch of weapons in Tampa Bay. Because LeBron James is going to yet another NBA Finals. And I know Skip is like one of these anti-LeBron guys. But what I'm saying is these talking heads on TV, every time their already mega successful guy has more success, they pretend like they reinvented the fucking wheel in projecting their success. And that's bullshit. And so you know what, Skip Bayless? Fuck you. I'm going the opposite way of whatever you're going, and I'm going for the Chiefs. I don't want to see another fucking Instagram with you in a Cowboys hat with a Tom Brady jersey on. They're in the same conference. Take it off, motherfucker. As you can tell, I don't like the guy. So yeah, that's the way I'm going. I'm going the over at 55.5. I think this game's going to have a lot of touchdowns. And it could be one of those games where in the first half it seems like there's not a lot, and then the second half they blow up. The last time these two teams met, a lot earlier in the year, Kansas City got off to a roaring start, and then Tampa Bay slowly chipped their way back. I remember almost turning that game off. It was almost like the Green Bay Tampa Bay game, where Tampa Bay just stomped on Green Bay's throats. But Tampa Bay managed to come back. I think this is going to be a great Super Bowl. I think Kansas City is going to win, and I think they win by around a touchdown. But it's going to be a fun one. All right, so the bets that I like singularly, these will also be parlayed for the anytime score. On the Kansas City side, Travis Kelce -650. Bill Simmons keeps saying this, but Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes have almost a duo like in basketball connection, and I agree with Simmons. He's right. They do. And I don't see them not scoring a touchdown in this game. Tyreek Hill, -160 to score a touchdown. Again, just another one of those guys. It just feels like he's going to score. And then for Kansas City, a guy that I just like cheering for, a guy that I always want to see score because it's going to be something unique, is Mecole Hardman at +200. And then Williams, the running back, at +185. The reason I like Williams so much just throughout this game is they may give the bulk of the carries to Clyde Edwards-Helaire or even Le'Veon Bell. I don't know what Le'Veon Bell's health situation is like. But I think that they're going to give the red zone carries to Williams. I don't know why I think that. I just think it's because CEH couldn't score this year, And Bell seems like more of a passing weapon to them, so I do know why I think that. I know why I think it, and it's because I think he's the only guy they're going to hand the ball off to in the red zone. And everyone's going to be expecting the pass, and of course Mahomes is just going to turn, give, touchdown, Williams, and it's going to be an easy bet. So I like that one straight up. Then, on the Tampa Bay side, the only two guys that I really like to confidently bet on right now, or I guess I'll throw in three. I'll throw in Mike Evans to score a touchdown. Then Leonard Fournette at plus 125, and Gronk at plus 220. I think it'd be so great to see Gronk catch a touchdown from Tom Brady in this game. I've got it set up in a parlay later. All right, fun little parlays out of those anytime scorers. I've got both running backs, so Leonard Fournette and Williams to score a touchdown at any time in the game, coming out at, plus Travis Kelce to score a touchdown. I threw Travis Kelce in like a bunch of these because I just think he's going to score. So the two running backs, Fournette and Williams, and Kelce, all to score in the game at plus 979. I think those are great odds. And a lot of this is just toying around with what they've got on FanDuel, figuring out what I like. And I did that for about 2 hours today, just going through, figuring out what I liked, where I liked it. And I really like that. Comes out at almost plus 1,000. There are three guys that I think are going to score. I definitely think Fournette's getting red zone touches. So I don't know if I'd take his yardage over. I don't know if I'd take his receiving yardage over. But what I would definitely take is him to score a touchdown at some point in this game. And then I've got Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and Williams all to score, coming out at plus 834. Really like that one. That one was just fun to set up. My sneaky parlay, bunch of guys you've never heard of, or not that you've never heard of, that's super incorrect. Just a bunch of guys that I don't think you're taking to score during the game. Scotty Miller scored 3 touchdowns this year, 4 if you include the touchdown last week. Mecole Hardman, 4 touchdowns. And Patrick Mahomes, who had 2, and I think he had a playoff touchdown as well. That one comes out at plus 5,016. That's a fun bet. That's a fun bet. Cheering for Scotty Miller. Cheering for Mecole Hardman. 2 guys who, when they score, it's always some sort of big play. And Pat Mahomes to score a rushing touchdown, which I think a lot of people are taking these quarterbacks to score a rushing touchdown. Then I got the Pat special. That's what I named this one. Tom Brady plus Gronk to score a touchdown. Tom Brady had 4 touchdowns, including playoffs this year, which isn't a lot. I get it. They've played like 19 games or whatever it is by this point. But 4 touchdowns is 4 touchdowns for a guy who's 43. By the way, Patrick Mahomes' dad, 50. That's incredible, Tom Brady. Hats off. And then Gronk had 7 TDs, which is good for an aging tight end. They're the standard for tight end quarterback connections over an extended period of time. And luckily, we've got the other standard on the other side of the field. How crazy is that? 2 guaranteed duo Hall of Famers playing the same position, playing in the same game, and not only that, the biggest game. So yeah, the Pat special. Individual bets that'll be fun. That I actually think are going to hit. I don't know why, but I'm high on Cameron Brate. And I even looked it up. He had only 3 touchdowns this season, including the playoffs. But it comes out at plus 240. He's their 3rd receiving passer in the playoffs this year. Brady just seems to like finding him. Just seems like a fun bet. And who the hell's Cameron Brate? Let's go for it, Sammy Watkins to score. He had 2 TDs all season, plus 210. I don't know. If you're looking for something to bet on, something to get wacky, sitting at a Super Bowl party, somebody asks you what you threw money down on, and you throw money down on the Watkins touchdown and he scores, you seem a little bit Swami-ish, Could be fun. That's just what I'm going to throw out there. I don't know if I'll bet that personally, but I liked it, and I like the odds. It's cool. And then for my guy at Utah State, yes, there's a Utah State playing in this game for his 2nd ring, Darwin Thompson, who I always call Darwin Tompkins. Don't ask me why. But Darwin Thompson, he's plus 1,800 to score a touchdown. I will bet that. He had 2 touchdowns all year. He fumbled once in the red zone earlier in the year, and they really haven't given him any red zone touches. So I wouldn't advise the bet, but I'm going to bet it. And if you went to Utah State, nut up and bet it. That's what I have to say about that. If you have like a really low end play, fuck it. If you have any player from your college that's likely to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, bet on it. That's fun, okay? That's fun. If you're betting on the game, you're betting a billion props anyway, throw some guy from your school in to score. It's fun. First touchdown of the game. This is fun. We've got Fournette at plus 1,000, which I'll put money on. I'll only put like maybe, $10 on that. I'm not a big time. I know it sounds like, the way that I'm talking about this gambling, that I'm throwing down huge bones on all of this shit. I'm not, because I don't make enough money to do so. So if you're looking to bet along with a guy who's throwing ridiculous shit down just to try to win a bunch of money off of nothing, bet with me. I'm not saying that I'm very successful. I'm just saying that, yeah, I'm a guy throwing down $10, anywhere from $10 to like $60. I'm not breaking my bank account. But I'm having fun. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have fucking fun. So I'm gonna bet on that. And then Williams to score the first touchdown is plus 1,400. Like that, I'm gonna bet that. So, whoever gets the ball first, blah blah blah. At least the first touchdown, I think it's gonna be one of those two guys. And if it's not, it's not. So FanDuel's really fun. And if you have the ability to bet on FanDuel, do it, because they've got a lot of really cool setups for you. And one of their cool setups and features that I just wanted to do, God, this is like a living ad for them. Penn Sports. Get Maryland so that I can do ads for you for free as well. One of the fun things they do is, the like plus 600 to plus 1,900 bets, like parlays that they've put together for you, or just a bet, and I fucking love this bet. It's 5+ touchdowns in each half. Who doesn't want to see that? It comes out at like plus 700. Yeah. That's so fun. I want to see 5 touchdowns in each half, and I don't know why that is not doable. I'm betting the over anyway. So that's a fun bet. And then they have the 5,000 plus range, where you're getting plus 5,000 odds. And the bet that I'm doing is Williams to score the first touchdown and then Fournette to score the second. And that comes out at plus 10,000. Like, hell yeah. Hell yeah, I love that bet. Because I've already got them to be the first 2 scorers on their team anyway. And that is what, if you're doing this prop thing, right, and you're getting into like, if you want to hedge and say, okay, well, I don't think that, I put them to score the first 2 touchdowns for each of their teams, or I picked each of them to score the first touchdown in the game. I might as well go Mike Evans and Tyreek Hill to score the first 2 touchdowns or whatever, right? If you want to hedge that way, go for it. But man, if Williams scores the first touchdown of the game, okay, won that bet. All right, now, if Tampa Bay's driving and it's on the 2-yard line, now everything's super exciting. Now everything's super fun. Instead of being like, well, fuck, my other bet's fucked now. Nah, I hate that. I hate that. Hedge during the regular season. This is the Super Bowl. Fuck the hedge. Go for it. Sell out. Set a certain amount of money that you're willing to gamble and bet it all. Don't get conservative. It's the last football game of the year. You got all year to make up the money you lost. The NBA is impossible to gamble on. Don't get me wrong, I'm trying to do it. At least 3 times a week. But it's impossible to gamble on. Football is the best sport to gamble on. It's fun. You'll win. I mean, you may not win as much as you lose or whatever. You may go 50-50, but it's easy to follow. The games are there. There's less variability. It's just a good sport to gamble on. Each regular season game, as I've said in prior episodes, matter just the right amount, And this is it. This is all we have left until August of next year when college football comes back. And then September of this year. I said next year, August of next year. August of this year and September of this year. We've got like 7 months until the NFL is back in our lives. So this is it. Blow out. Go for it. Have fun. God, it's the fucking Super Bowl. Don't be conservative with your gambling. That's boring. That's boring. These props are fun. The Super Bowl's fun. Enjoy it. All right, now that I've gotten that off my chest, we'll go into some other sort of game-esque props. The first quarter bet. Before I looked at the stats, I liked this a lot more, but I'm going to stick with it. Kansas City to be trailing after the first quarter is plus 120. It felt like all year Kansas City was playing from behind, and maybe they lost their leads after the first quarter and the second quarter. They tied twice, and they were in the lead trailing 5 times this year. But, there were a million memes on Twitter about how Kansas City, down 10, and they had, like, beefy SpongeBob. And then they had, like, Kansas City when they're tied, and it was like that SpongeBob from that episode when he's making Krabby Patties on the computer and he's quote-unquote normal. Yeah, I got my SpongeBob references down. So it just felt like Kansas City was trailing a lot this year, and in reality, hey, they lost one game. They lost 2 games, but they only lost 1 game that Pat Mahomes played in. And they've trailed 5 times. I still like it. If you had to tell me who was going to have more nerves, Brady or Mahomes, I'd pick Brady. I'd say Mahomes would have more nerves, just because, I don't know, Brady pretty much has a condo at the beginning of every season where they're going to have the Super Bowl. He lives at the Super Bowl. It's so fucking annoying. And that's why I can't get why people are cheering for him. I get that Mahomes is starting to get annoying. But Jesus fucking Christ. If I've got to hear about how great he is for how old he is, I fucking get it, dude. Get him out. He's like Bill fucking Russell, dude. Get the fuck out of here. So sick of seeing your face. And somehow, I don't know how they did it, New England fans are pumped. They're like, yeah, I love cheering for Brady. Get to bet on him every week. Oh, for fuck's sake, can't you guys just accept that it hurts? God, it's got to be like getting fucking kicked in the balls to see this guy, the season he leaves you, at the age he left you at, go to the Super Bowl. And he's only, a 3-point dog against the best quarterback in the NFL right now. It's just so fucking... It's unbelievably annoying that Tom Brady's back in the Super Bowl. All right, there's a bet that I think a lot of people are going to take that I'm not going to take. And that is the over on the rushing yards for each quarterback. And the reason I'm not taking this, and I'm just not going to bet rushing yards for a quarterback, Brady is only 0.5 yards. And I don't know how many times he went over that this season, but if, they have the ball with 30 seconds left in the second half and Brady takes 3 knees, well, that's like minus 2 yards a knee. That's minus 6 yards. There's no way he's ever catching that 0.5. Not going to bet that. But I'm also not going to bet for a quarterback to take knees. Because, who am I? So I'm not going to bet that. And then Mahomes, it's the same thing. It's at 14.5 for his over, 16 or something like that. If he takes a knee, takes a bad sack, it feels like it's impossible to sack that guy though, huh? He could be on the way down and flick one for 60 yards. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And it's a little obnoxious. It's going to be really annoying 4 years from now, when he's got 3 to 5 Super Bowls. Because honestly, who's stopping this team? Did you know Travis Kelce and Gronk are the same age, by the way? So who the hell is stopping Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill? That's what I want to know. They got speed. They got vert. They always have the ability to run because they're able to pass whenever they want. So, I mean, but it does feel like maybe he'll take a bad sack or a kneel or, go for it on fourth and not get it. Or like that weird running play that he got hurt on in the Buffalo game. It's just like designed for him to get lit up. I don't think they'll ever run that again. They've got to be a little cautious of that. Just after that incident alone, they have to be a little cautious. All right. That's that, The ones that I'm going to take for the player props that have to do with the quarterback. I'm going to take Mahomes completions over 28. I think it's 28.5. Yeah, I'm going to take that. He's so fucking good, and he's going to get that. I think he's going to get that easy. I think that, especially if they're trailing after the first quarter, like I think they will be, Mahomes is going to have to unload a little bit. And it's not unrealistic to see him throwing the ball, 38 times in this game. And how many times does Patrick Mahomes miss more than 10 passes? He's got like a 70% completion rating. The guy's just fucking good. He's just fucking good, and he's going to complete these passes, and he's got the one Super Bowl out of the way. He's always in big games. The nerves thing isn't something that's playing effect this year. And then we have the over on the long passes. This one surprised me a little bit. So Mahomes is set at 40.5, so he's got to throw a 41-yard pass or longer in this game. And he has done this 7 times out of the 15 games he played, but against Tampa Bay, he had his season-long a 75-yard completion for a touchdown. Not a bad stat. Not a bad stat. Favorable stat. And then Tom Brady's long is 39.5. And I thought, looking at this, okay, maybe he goes under that. Aging, weak arm. Guess what? He completed 9 passes over that length this year. 9 passes. Or his longs in games. Because, I guess Mahomes has 7 out of 15 games where I know for a fact that he went over that number. I don't know how many times in those games he went over that number. But in 9 out of 16 games this year, Brady went over 40. Including against Kansas City. I think that that's a really safe bet. I think that that's a fun bet, safe bet. Who doesn't want to see long passes? Cheer for what you want to see. Cheer for what you want to see. Okay. And then the final game prop bet that I'm going to have is the under punts at 7.5. You kidding me? Andy Reid and Bruce Arians are going to be throwing the ball on 4th down or going for it on 4th down whenever they can. These are 2 of the most historically aggressive coaches in NFL history. Why in the world would I ever think that they're going to punt 8 times in this game? They could just be on the other side of the 50. And I can see Arians just being like, go for it, Tommy. And I'm pretty sure that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid don't even talk to each other. They just communicate via telepathy. God, those 2 are in sync. How fucking awesome is that? Fuck you, Kansas City fans. It's got to be so goddamn good for you. You got a quarterback and a head coach that they don't have to talk to each other, and they're best friends. They were built for each other. When they want to go for it, Pat Mahomes just looks to the sideline and puts up his hand and does the little 90-degree pointing in the direction of going for it, and Andy Reid is eating a hot dog in the locker room. He's like, okay, yeah, we're going for it. How funny is it that Andy Reid has a burger ready for when he wins the Super Bowl? Shout out Andy Reid, went to BYU. Utah Mormon guy. I don't know why that makes me want to cheer for him, but it just does. It's fucking awesome. It's just awesome. I'm so excited. Oh, man. It is great that, I've been talking about how this is the last game of the year, and the last game of the year I get the best quarterback coaching duo. I do. The only thing this is missing is Belichick. I wonder how much Belichick affects the point line. If you're listening to this, you probably have my phone number. Text me what you think he would affect it. I think he's like worth 2 points, at least. I think Kansas City is -1.5. If Belichick's coaching this team, Kansas City might be +1.5. Belichick has all these weapons. Yeah. I don't know. If you're listening to this, you're my friend who I texted the podcast to. Text me and tell me what you think. And if you're on YouTube, and God knows why, this is the video you clicked on. This is like the 3rd video I ever made. And you listened all the way to this point, because I think we're like 30 minutes in. Almost 30 minutes in. Comment and tell me what you think. I don't know. Hit me up on Twitter. My username's Charlie-Moffat. Moffat. Yeah, so that's it for the Super Bowl. So after this little segment here, I'm going to go into the NFL offseason, because I've got some comments to make about the Goff trade. But I wanted to put the Super Bowl stuff on the front end. Also, bet the Gatorade. I don't know what the Gatorade line is. I couldn't find it on FanDuel, but it's going to be red, right? Both teams are red. Yeah. It's going to be red. So bet that. The Gatorade bath will be red. It's probably like -100 or whatever, but that's just fun to bet. I always bet the over on the national anthem, because who knows, and who's betting the under. And the coin toss, tails never fails. But yeah, that's the Super Bowl prop bet. All right, so the Jared Goff, Matt Stafford trade went through today. And there's a lot being made of it. There's a lot of like, my buddy Ray is huge. And hey, Ray, if you're listening and you've made it this far, what's up, brother? He's made a lot of noise about this. And he was really thinking, I think there was a lot of me too, thinking that Stafford would be wearing a Niners uniform. And as it got closer and closer to the trade, it just seemed like that wasn't going to be reality. And Los Angeles gives up 2 firsts, a second, 2 future firsts, a second, and Goff for Stafford. And everyone goes on the internet and starts freaking out that they gave up too much. But remember, Jared Goff's contract is awful. It's awful. Just to get rid of that is worth at least a first and a second. So, you know, it from afar, it may appear like it affected the Deshaun Watson talk, but I don't think it did. I don't. And what do I think that this means? I don't know. Matt Stafford's never won a playoff game. Let's start there. I feel like this is a guy that the NFL and its fan base can't make their mind up on. And or it can't come to a consensus on. I think everyone has their mind made up on him. And my mind is made up on him, and it's that he's kind of underwhelming. He's kind of underwhelming. And he's not performed the way I wanted him to. Now, I know that they've never really had an O-line, and I know that they've never had the running back, and I know that the defense have never been complete. But, you know, he's had good defensive linemen. Ndamukong Suh was there, and at the time was by far the best defensive lineman. He had the greatest wide receiver of my generation, Calvin Johnson, and he never won a playoff game? I don't know. I've just seen other quarterbacks win playoff games with less. You just have. I saw Deshaun Watson do it last year. I mean, I know he had D-Hop last year, but he didn't have an O-line or a rushing attack. If you can call what they had in Houston last year a defense. And I know their stats are probably not as bad as blah, 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 blah. But, you know, it felt like less. D-Hop is not Calvin Johnson. He's good. He's really good, but he's not Calvin Johnson. So, is Stafford worth all of that? Probably. But is he enough to make me say, you know, what Vegas did and put Kansas City at the 3rd best odds to win the Super Bowl? Probably not. And I know he's got a better offensive coach, and I know he's never had an offensive coach in his career. And maybe he has big numbers, but he lacks, for being how old he is, for being 33 years old, he lacks so much experience, especially playoff experience and big game experience. But I want to see him succeed because I want to see a fun McVay offense. I want to see it completely unlocked. And And I think that he might not be able to completely unlock it. I think there's only 2 to 3 quarterbacks in the league that can completely unlock his offense, which would be like Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, maybe Josh Allen. Like those 4 guys who could completely unlock the entirety of his offense because of the rushing attack and the throwing ability and the scramble ability. And Aaron Rodgers, I'll throw him in there because he had such a good year. But there aren't, to reiterate my point, there aren't a lot. And I think he's getting mistakenly thrown in with a group like that because he has had such good fourth quarter numbers. And I don't know if they're just garbage time or not. And he's had good numbers in the past, but to put them at the 3rd best odds to win the Super Bowl feels a little irresponsible to me. And it feels like an overreaction because he's only won 1 playoff game and he never goes to the playoffs and he has a losing record as a starting quarterback. But we'll see. McVay made Goff look really fucking good, and I'm going to tell you this much. Goff is going to eat shit in Detroit. Bye-bye, dude. It seems that, and I feel bad for him. He's a Cal guy, Pac-12 guy, got to back the pack. But it just seemed like McVay lost his confidence in him. After the Super Bowl, really. After the Super Bowl loss, it seemed like McVay and him just weren't able to recapture any of that. I mean, he made Goff look like a sneaky MVP quarterback. He got Goff that giant contract. McVay better give him 10% of that for the rest of his life, huh? God. Or sorry, he better give McVay that. I don't know. I can't remember what I said initially. But yeah, McVay got him that contract that has built Goff into what seemed like an untradeable piece. So they made him a tradable piece. Not bad. Not bad. I certainly think the Rams should be the favorite to win their division. Aren't we all waiting for the year where Russell Wilson gets injured? And I don't mean that like we're all waiting for it in anticipation, like we want to see it, but it's just like, God, Seattle has not done anything to protect that guy. If their head coach is incompetent, which Pete Carroll's not, he's the same as Deshaun Watson. They've not put a good defense around him. He's out there throwing 40 times a game. It's just like, when is that? But every year is the year. I listen to Bill Simmons. He does the season over-unders for NFL games. Oh, for NFL teams before the season goes out with Cousin Sal. Great podcast. Like a top 10 podcast of the year. And he does it every year. And every year he and Sal talk about, well, when's the year that we finally see Wilson, go down and not get back up? And for like 3 years, I think they bet the under because they were just thinking that was it, and then they stopped. But it's true. And even with Wilson there, it doesn't appear like Seattle's defensive problems are fixable in one offseason. And I think that you just have a Los Angeles team that's complete on the defensive end, just got rid of a huge contract and probably go get the downfield threat that they need at wide receiver. And when they do that, they should be the favorite to win that division. To win the Super Bowl, who knows? The NFC is kind of a mess. Kind of a mess. I think San Francisco comes back in a big way next year, and I think they're the wild card in that division, but a tough wild card. Like a really obnoxious wild card, and so is Seattle. Just that division is a gauntlet. Just to get out of it is such a nightmare. But, it's not like Arizona's terrible. Just as long as Cliff Kingsbury's down there, good fucking luck. That is awful. So that's what I think of that trade. Do I think it did much to the rest of the quarterback trading world? No. And Maz, if you're listening, your point about Carson Wentz is pretty valid. Maz said to me, he listened to last week's pod, he said, hey, Carson Wentz isn't bad. His coach gave up on him. They've had nothing for an offensive line, nothing for weapons for the past 2 years. My point is, there's such good talent out on the market. That never happens. And Wentz hasn't done anything these past 2 years. And it just doesn't seem like they're going to get a first-round pick for him. And I don't think the Stafford trade really does anything for that. I think they might have to give something up to get rid of him. I don't know. His contract's pretty big, if I remember correctly. They will move on from him, and I don't know where he's going to land. And Watson becomes more and more interesting. It's become clearer and clearer that San Francisco's not a spot. It seems like New York is really where people are thinking he's going to land. God, that would suck. The Jets are just so fucking bad, and I know Gase is gone, but God, the Jets are fucking awful. And I would hate to see him go there. I want him in the fucking playoffs. I want him in a Steeler uniform. It's not going to happen, but I want him in the fucking playoffs, dude. Oh yeah, happy Women in Sports Day. Shout out to all those WNBA players. Natasha Cloud in my city, who took the season off to support civil rights. I'm all about that. Way to fucking go, guys. The women, Barack Obama was on Bill Simmons' podcast. God, I reference that a lot. But he was on there and he was talking about when the men's teams compared to the women's teams come to the White House. And the women have these agenda-driven, policy-based questions. And I work in D.C., so I work on the Hill. I really respect that. And I love that they're on the fucking front lines. They don't make millions of dollars. Maybe some of them do, but most of them aren't making even a 32nd of what LeBron and these guys make. And I know LeBron uses his platform for good too, but these guys are taking the year off. Maya Moore took the year off. They're advocates for their gender and for races that aren't their own. A lot of the white players are too. A lot of, they really have become a very elite, sorority of girls who have done such great things. And so this is a day that, celebrates them, and we should acknowledge them because they've done great things, and they'll continue to do it. And it's awesome that they do. And they inspire a lot. The women's national soccer team inspires. These WNBA players inspire. It's awesome. And I'm sure women across all sports do. Those are just the sports that I follow. But it's great. So shout out to them and shout out to that holiday. I think I'm going to call it a wrap. Bang Kansas City in every way that you can. Sexual pun intended. Just bet and ride Kansas City this week. They're fucking good. And I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. And when I'm wrong, crucify me. I don't know. But yeah, this was fun. This is a good pod. I look forward to doing this one every year. And I will be probably coming at you with my reaction to the game and NBA takes next Wednesday or Thursday. Usually this is uploaded on Thursday. But yeah, it's been a hell of a ride, guys. Enjoy the game. I know I'm going to. So, peace.